Coconut had my mouth guard. Well, it's actually my mouth guard case. This is my.
Uh,
Oh, where's my mouth guard?
that's already been
Oh.
chewed up.
I know. The last one he did chew up, and it's gone. And these are pretty expensive. They actually last a long time. I'm not being paid by Oral B right now, but Oral
Uh,
B mouth guards, if you're a teeth grinder, um, are by far the sturdiest. They last the longest. The only thing that has destroyed them is my dog. Um, but what happens sometimes, I know I'm turned around right now, I'm not talking into the mic, is I'll wear it while I'm sleeping and it'll fall out every night. And it won't fall out. I mean you have to like spit it out, but I'll subconsciously spit it out.
hmm
Sometimes I'll be dreaming that I'll have something shoved in my mouth and I'll be spitting it out. And then sure enough it'll be out when I wake up. So I wonder if it's in my bed right now because it's not in the case. And the case was oh no, Stella has it. There it is. The other dog had it. Hooray. And it's not destroyed. It's just got dog hair all over it, so I got to clean it. But I just got this one, so I really did not want it to be destroyed. So I'm
you,
glad I
you need to
noticed.
get one of those little leashes that you get for babies and their pacifiers.
Yes,
It
for
just clips to them.
that actually, well, yeah, that actually is not a bad idea.
So,
Oh my
so Kevin, I
gosh.
must ask you a question.
Oh yes, yes. Well
Hmm.
done, sir. Well
Yeah.
done. What is your
So,
question?
do you have a Dairy Queen near you?
Yes, I mean yes in the region, but not immediately near me.
And do you like Fruit Loops?
Yeah, yeah.
So right now they've like Dairy Queen, at least here, has this like Fruity Blast dipped cone. It's like
Oh
a
my gosh.
purple. And Jacob got it the other night, and I happened to get some of it on my finger when I was handing it to him. It tasted just like Fruit Loops, like a
Oh
bowl of
my
Fruit Loops.
gosh. So you're highly recommending it
Oh yeah.
if you got a sweet tooth? That sounds super good. It's in the it's funny because there's only a subtle difference. I love Fruit Loops, but Fruity Pebbles I love even more. I think because they're smaller maybe, but essentially it's the same taste.
hmm
But anytime there's like a Fruity Pebble option, it like with yogurt, frozen yogurt, I'll get it on there. That sounds pretty bomb. The DK Fruit Loop Blast. I don't know if that's what it's called, but
Yeah, it's just Fruity Blast. It's like a purple color.
I'm guessing it'd be easy to find on the
Oh
menu.
yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
think it's just like a seasonal thing right now.
gotcha. I don't know where the nearest Dairy Queen is to me, but I know we have them. I'm gonna go try to find one. That'll be my mission for today. That's funny.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you were gonna say I must ask you a question and then not actually have a question.
No.
See, because our episode is about mustaches
Right.
today.
Yeah. It is.
Yep, yep. I actually had a sort of a video series called "I Must Ask You a Question" at one of my radio stations. It wasn't very long lasting, and I don't think management ever like loved it. But it was
Yeah.
basically me. It was like I was the man on the street, and so the idea was I'm going out and I'm asking people questions. So it made sense. I must ask you a question.
hmm
It had a short lifespan. I'm sure there's videos on the internet somewhere if you search hard enough. Yeah, that was my jam.
No Billy Eichner
Oh, Bill. Yeah, it was kind of like Billy Eichner. Yeah, but not quite, not nearly as energetic or funny
or famous.
or famous. Yeah, yeah. He literally made himself famous doing those, just going out on the
hmm
street and yelling at people, basically. Yeah, that was good stuff. Um, yeah, cool, man.
Yeah. Have a good week.
Trying to think of it. Yeah, I was just thinking because we were talking about our tooths, my tooth thing. I got fillings this week. I don't think I told you
Oh
that, did I?
no.
I went so a couple of weeks ago. I went to the dentist for the first time in 10 years because I have dental insurance now,
hmm
and
I've done that.
I did have two cavities. I'll lead with that. Did I tell you about my dentist trip or no? Maybe I texted it to
No,
you.
I don't think
I
so.
know it's very exciting. Let me tell you, it's very exciting. I did have two cavities. I just want to lead with that, but they were thoroughly impressed with how clean my teeth were, considering it had been 10 plus years since I'd been to a dentist. Like when they hear that, they expect to see teeth that are just covered in plaque and tartar. And I
hmm
had, I had buildup on mostly under my front bottom teeth, but outside of that, it they were like, how
Hey.
yeah, it was great. And you know what? The truth is, I brush twice a day and I floss at least once a day, if not twice. And I think they're just not used to people who actually floss their teeth. And so um, it felt good to get a gold star. But yeah, so I got fillings and as with getting new things in your mouth, like I can
It feels
feel.
different.
Yeah, there's almost, and maybe part of it is
Hmm.
it's still settling in, but it almost feels like gritty in certain parts, and I'm like, is that normal? But I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As someone that's had a lot of fillings put in, yeah.
Have you? Have you? Yeah.
Because kind of like you, even though I had dental insurance, I didn't have money to go,
Yep.
and so
Yeah.
last year, like January of last year, was when I like the first time I'd really gone in a while because I
Mm.
had a tooth that was hurting, and
Yep.
so yeah,
Was it a cavity?
yeah, yeah.
Did you have to get a root canal or did you just get it filled?
Got it filled. There was another one that was gonna get a crown put on, but then it broke, so they ended up just pulling it.
Oh gosh. All right. So you have a implant or something?
No, just a space.
You just have a
It's
blank spot? It's a
yeah,
molar? Oh, oh, there it is. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a safe spot to have a blank spot.
it
It's
is.
no one's gonna
Yeah.
see it.
Although, like, if you're eating nuts or something, every once in a while, it just kind of gets stuck there.
Oh, that it's like perfectly. I
Yeah.
would be trying to do that. Be like, get right in there, and that would be a funny like. That sounds like a redneck's version of a fake tooth. Like you just put a
Right.
peanut in there, a piece of corn. Yeah, that's funny. I hopefully my fillings take because I did. I notified them about one of them that I thought was there because I could feel it a little bit of
Hmm.
pain when I chew, and what they told me is if you're feeling a little bit of pain, it means it may have already gotten down to the nerve to the root, which is when you
Yeah.
need to get a root canal. And so they said give it a few weeks, and if there's still pain when you chew on it, then it might mean you need a root canal. So come back.
Yeah.
But so far so good.
Yeah. I mean, I had that tooth pulled and then fillings. I've not had a root canal or a crown put in. So.
Never a root canal for me either. Wisdom teeth, are they out?
Oh yeah, yeah. I had those
Yeah.
pulled a
Do you
couple years
remember how
ago.
old you were? Okay, so as an
Yeah.
adult.
Yeah.
I was 17 or 18, and I'm so glad I did it then because I was way more tolerable to pain. It wasn't the right. I had a way higher pain tolerance then. Now I'm a big baby. Do you remember? I'm guessing because I don't think they even do metal fillings anymore, silver fillings or whatever. I don't know what material they
Right.
use, but the color silver. You have all white. I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. They matched it to like my teeth color.
Yeah. Oh, got it. Wow, they can do that.
Yeah. They probably did that with yours too.
They like look for the right hue.
Yeah.
I if that's news to me. They probably did though. Probably makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, teeth aren't naturally all perfectly white.
Oh yeah, I know. It is funny when you look and it's like, oh, my teeth are kind of yellow, but it's like kind of everybody's are. No, none
Yeah.
of them are like white. Just showing
Yeah.
off. They're not like gross yellow. But I've heard if you drink coffee, you don't drink coffee though, do you, John? Occasionally.
I go in spurts. Sometimes I'll drink a bunch. Sometimes I don't touch it for a month. It just
Yeah, yeah.
depends.
There are various caffeine, but if you drink coffee, you're supposed to drink water with it to help your teeth, to help rinse the staining off your teeth.
Yeah.
So I have this random memory, and I'm gonna do a Google search eventually, but I'm wondering if there was a movie back in the day, and I remember this because I had silver fillings, and if you had silver fillings, if you took foil and you
Hmm.
bit, it would like hurt. It would be like a
Yeah.
sensation.
Yeah.
And there was a movie where some kid did that. I'm visualizing an airplane, but it was sort of like it was like a white lie. It was like a friendly lie that somebody told him like this means you have this means you have superpowers. Like they were convincing him he had some kind of power, and I don't know if it was just to make him feel better, like a nice, oh, he's making him feel better, or if it was like he was lying to him. But does that ring any bells to you? I have no clue what this movie is, but
Maybe.
but I remember it because it made me test this foil biting theory.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds vaguely familiar, But I do know that like Lucille Ball said that because of her fillings one time, it was like picking up a radio station in her mouth.
I've heard this. I've heard. Well, I mean, like, I've like heard in theory that that's possible. Is she? So she said that. Like, that's something she
Yeah.
said.
Uh-huh.
That is wild.
Yeah.
That is so
Well, I mean,
crazy.
from my understanding, what's happening like when you're biting down on the foil is you're essentially creating an electrical current
Okay, got it. Oh my gosh,
because
I
it's
just found the movie, but
it's two opposing metals,
yeah,
and your saliva is salty enough to where it's allowing the ions to move or electrons.
that is so crazy. Science is so crazy. You're literally making things move in there.
Yeah.
I am so excited right now. I just googled kid bites foil with silver fillings movie, and the first thing I see is I need your help finding an old crappy movie. But here, right when I saw the title, I knew it was it. It's called Josh and Sam, and Sam is an acronym S.A.M. And here's the quick synopsis: after their parents divorce, 12-year-old Josh and 7-year-old Sam decide to go on an underage road trip. Sick of being ferried between their distant mother and remarried father, Josh and his brother steal a car and set out for Canada. I don't remember that, but I think that's what it was. Is the older brother tries to convince the younger brother Sam that he's like a robot or a cyborg, and that SAM stands for something. That is so crazy. I hope that somebody is hearing this right now and is like, I remember that, because this just this just made my life. I'm like obsessed with this right now. I have a feeling it's gonna be. I'm gonna watch it, but I have a feeling it's gonna be terrible.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because these movies tend to be that. Movies from 1993 can tend to be that. Not Cool Runnings, though.
Nope.
What does Sam stand for? Josh and Sam. Strategically altered mutant. There it is. Oh man, I cannot wait.
It's got
to
Jake
watch this.
Gyllenhaal in it.
Well, that's what I saw that, but I don't think he is in it. It said something about referenced, but maybe he is in it.
His character's name is Leon.
Okay, so he is in it. And in 93 he would have been a kid, so he was probably like a friend of theirs or something. Jacob Tierney.
He would have
that
been
movie.
13.
Okay, so yeah, and the characters are 12 and 17, so that's
Yeah.
yeah, there he is, Leon Coleman. All right, so you can watch Jake Gyllenhaal and Josh and Sam.
It's
In
got
fact,
Stephen Tobolowsky in it.
I don't think I know. It's got Danny Tamborelli. Do you know who that is?
Uh,
Pete and Pete.
yeah.
He was the younger Pete in Pete and Pete. I saw a kid in Chicago when I went to the Willis Tower that nobody calls the Willis Tower. They call it Sears Tower. And there was a kid who looked exactly like Danny Tamborelli. And I realized that that's like saying all gingers look alike. I don't know. Is ginger a
Right.
politically correct word? But this kid like had the face, and it was amazing.
I love that show.
I loved it too. And I don't know if you remember, he had that tattoo, Petunia, and he would make
Mhm.
he would make Petunia dance on his arm. That kid,
Yep.
that kid has no clue who Pete and Pete are, but he could totally be Pete for Halloween just by getting that tattoo on him. All right, I'm gonna watch Josh and Sam, and I believe that Jake Gyllenhaal came up in one of our quizzes. But what was it? He was considered for or turned down the role of someone in a movie of a kid. God, I can't. I think this was my own quiz, and I can't even remember what it was. I'm like, what did we do? Yeah, it's gonna come to me. But yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal had a chance to be the kid in something.
I don't remember.
That drive me crazy. Turned down for what? Boom, 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 boom. Well, that's funny because this This is the role that came to mind, but I don't think this was it. It was the kid from Rookie of the Year, the Cubs pitcher. So it looks like he turned that down, but that's not what I was thinking of. Anyways, I'll figure it out. Oh, Mighty Ducks. Mighty Ducks. He was gonna play Charlie, I believe, is who the main duck. That's what it was. Wow, he was gonna be the duck. He was gonna be in all these sports movies. I wonder if it's better off that he didn't, because his career, obviously, hard to say. His career has always been great, but like, I don't know. There's some kid actor like Kenan Thompson was in Mighty Ducks, and his career's fine. And Joshua Jackson's had a great career, so I don't think it would have been a career ruiner. But
Yeah, but I mean, Joshua Jackson's mainly just been TV.
it's true.
Same with Keenan.
Yeah, Keenan's been in some like niche movies. Like he was on Snakes on a Plane, I remember. But yeah, he has been mostly TV. Maybe we've already made this point on the podcast at some point, but Kenan Thompson has, if you really think about it, especially people our age, he's been the most consistent sort of famous person in our lives. He's like between all that and Mighty Ducks and Kenan and Kel and SNL, he's the longest running cast member on SNL. He's always sort of been present in our lives. It's so crazy to think about that. I do love Kenan Thompson. I love him. I mean, I have a special place. I love seeing him on SNL. I don't always think he's the funniest, but he plays all the roles well. And he just has a really special place in my heart because of all that and especially Mighty Ducks. You know I love Mighty Ducks, don't you, John?
You do?
They announced some information about the new Mighty Ducks, Game Changers, the next season. You never watched that, right?
I've watched half of it.
That's right. I think we talked about that. It's pretty good, but the second one, I believe it sounds like it's going to be taking place at like a summer camp and maybe like a hockey summer camp. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on your mind?
No, I don't think so.
Let's do the thing then.
Cool.
Pulling up my media board, and making it live. And all right, you ready?
Yep.
Fingers crossed. 3, 2, 1. John likes tech and lives in Indiana, you know. Kevin likes the Dodgers and talks on the radio. John plays games on Xbox and on his Nintendo, while Kevin runs around LA with his mustachio. It's the Lack of Genius podcast, in your ear holes at last. They don't know they're Mars from Venus, that's why it's the Lack of Genius podcast. Hey, John.
Hey, Kevin.
I was going to say, hey, John, why don't you take the first word for this podcast? But then I would have been taking the first word.
Right?
Would not have made sense. Hey, this is, I just realized, this is one where we are honoring the theme song a little bit, kind of unintentionally.
Yeah.
Because
we are.
The theme song says that Kevin runs around LA with his mustachio.
Yeah, I mean, you also did just run around Chicago with it, too.
I did. And it, without bragging, it got a lot of compliments, especially Wrigley Field. It was, I'm glad I had that because they were nice anyways with my Dodger jersey, but they were even nicer. Like they were like, oh, I can't get mad at someone with a mustache like that. And again, I don't mean that boastfully. It's just so nice that they were accommodated in that way.
Really, it was because I was standing next to you. And
you were my security. Is that what you're saying?
Pretend security.
Yeah, and you had Cubs gear on, so they were like, okay, he's cool. He has Cubs friends. This episode is all about mustaches, and it is actually honoring the 10th anniversary of my mustache. That is why we're doing this today. My mustache turned 10 years old. I think actually, as of recording this, I don't know the exact date, but I think it's May 12th. I think that is so not too far off from when this episode goes live. It's been 10 years since I've had this on my face, John.
At least something's been there.
How long? Wait, what is that supposed to mean?
I don't know.
How long have you had your beard? Out of curiosity, it comes and goes, or
it's been shaved off a couple times. And by a couple, I mean like twice.
Oh, okay. Since
Since
you
high
were
school.
12? High school. So you've been able to grow a beard since high school?
Mhm.
Wow. And since then, it's only been shaved off twice in your life?
Yeah, I mean it's gone down into like a goatee with a mustache. It's not been a full beard the whole time, but yeah.
In fact, I think because John and I went to Manchester College in Indiana for a semester together. John graduated from there. Um, I want to say in that yearbook, there's a picture of you where either you don't have it or you just have like sideburns or you just have the goatee. It's something like that.
Yeah, that might have been when I did mutton chops
Yeah, that's what it
for
was.
I was doing the opera workshop.
Gotcha. So you were in character.
Yeah, but that would have been in like the January. So I don't
Well,
know.
but this was in the yearbook that came out in the spring
Ah,
after that
right.
year. Yep. So it
Yeah.
included
So,
everything. That's what it was,
yeah.
and it was kind of shocking. And in my head, I was like, "Oh, John doesn't always have the mustache, but that was a very rare the mustache, the beard, but that was a very rare time that you didn't."
Yeah.
Here's a question so we'll get into what we're doing our quiz on specifically about mustaches, but I think I know the answer to this. When you have a full beard like you do, John,
Mhm.
the hair on your upper lip, is it still a mustache, or is a mustache only defined by when it's alone on a face? Like, is what you have a collective beard, or do you have a mustache that is part of a beard?
I think it's both. It's kind of like, is the United Kingdom the country, or is, England, Wales, and Scotland the countries that make up like, you know,
Yeah.
I, I I think if you have a full beard, that is, both a beard and mustache. But because like you can have a handlebar mustache with a full beard.
That's true. That's true. And especially if it's handlebar,
So
I think it gets more recognition as, oh yeah,
it
he's got a
does.
mustache with that beard.
It does.
But
Yeah.
the mustache is
So
there regardless, right?
yeah,
I mean,
it's still a mustache. It's just a mustache combined with a beard, which then makes the full beard.
yeah, I think your logic makes 100% sense. So you're not going to go around saying like, "Look at my mustache, everyone," unless you do what I do and then have the
Yeah.
full beard. But yes, yes. Well, I am in admiration of your beard because I cannot grow a full beard. I can grow a little goatee on the chin, and I've done that before. But I just grow
Yeah.
patchy on the side. So
Yeah, I mean, you can barely see it, but that's what you got there is the little soul patch.
yeah, tell us what you're showing.
I think this was just like activity fair,
Yeah.
like in the fall of 2005 at Manchester.
Uh huh.
They would take your picture and then make mouse pads out of it.
Yeah.
And so it's a picture of me, Kevin, and our friend Jesse doing the Captain Morgan pose.
So funny and random. Like, why
Right.
were we doing that? That was such a college thing to do.
Well,
Eh,
I mean that was their big commercial at the time too. Was
Yeah.
them just doing that. So
It's like 1 foot up, and we weren't even putting our
yeah,
foot on anything. It was literally in thin
no,
air. But we do look very in sync. Like
right?
we could be in sync, for example, the band, or we
Yeah,
could be like synchronized swimmers. Yeah, I've got a shaved head at the time. I think it's probably hard to see, but I think that's when I had two little red stripes on the side of my head.
yeah. It is
Yeah,
one on each
yeah.
side. Yeah,
Yep, and then I just had this little. It's not quite a soul patch is when it's just below the lip, but it's the
yeah.
little chin goatee because that's all I could grow at the time. I couldn't grow the mustache then. I was like, look at my facial hair, everyone.
Well, I mean, my mustache barely shows up too. So I
Yeah, look.
mean,
Oh my gosh, look how young we both look. But like, oh, you do look. Because I was gonna say like, oh, you haven't changed at all. And look, we've aged gracefully. But yeah, you
uh,
look so young in that picture, and so do I. Makes sense because we were.
you know what's funny is you and I, between the times that this when we first started hanging out and last weekend, you almost the only times you'd seen me was with long hair because I just cut my hair a few days before I came up to
You're
Chicago.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, and the hair looks good, by the way. John got a haircut. It looks great. But you're right. I've never seen you with quote unquote short hair.
That's funny.
What an op- what an
Yeah.
opportunity. Well, so John's got short hair. He's got a 17-year-old mouse pad, and we're doing a quiz on my mustache specifically is what I'm going to be quizzing John on. I got 5 questions prepared about my mustache because there's 10 years of history there, so I got plenty to quiz you on. And you got what? Mustache history?
Yep. Or
right.
mustache facts,
I'm very excited for the mustache facts because I have a mustache. I don't know if I know a lot about mustaches, so I think that's what we're gonna find. We're gonna find out if I lack genius on mustaches. Is what we're gonna do. Let's get into a tidy up, yeah?
Mhm.
All right. Tidy up before we go any further with the show. Tidy up before we go. Fix our mistakes tonight. I wanna get it right. Tidy up. You got anything to tidy up in your life, John?
Yeah, I mean, I know we kind of apologized on it on the socials, but last weekend when we were in Chicago, we put a poll out there as to where we should eat, and overwhelmingly people said we should go to Gino's.
Yeah, Gino's or Giordano's was the vote.
Yeah,
was the choices.
And that was we could have had Lou Malnati's, but to be honest, when I created that post, I forgot about Lou Malnati's. And I think there's another place as well.
You're not saying Illuminati. When you told me that, I was like, Illuminati? There's a place called Illuminati, and no, it's Lou Malnati's.
Yeah. And then
something like that.
Yeah. And we were originally gonna go back down to where Kevin's hotel was and eat around there, which in that case, we would have gone to Gino's, but Kevin called an audible and was liking Wrigleyville and wanted to stay up there, and so we went to Giordano's only because that was in walking distance, where Gino's was a couple of miles away at that point. So next time we'll go to Gino's.
Yeah, next time we'll listen to you. Oh, you made a good point. We listen to you, we just don't do what you tell us to do.
Exactly.
I do feel bad because it feels like as an entity of a podcast where we have an audience, we have listeners, we should, if we're saying we want your opinion, we should take it. So we do apologize, but the whole reason that I went to Chicago was to go to Wrigley Field, and it was like the game went by super fast. I was like, why would we leave this right now? And to be honest, John, I'm really glad we didn't listen because, at the restaurant itself, there were Dodger and Cubs fans. It was it still felt like the energy and the pizza was phenomenal. Like it makes me excited to try Gino's if supposedly it's better because Giordano's, that was amazing. I didn't think I'd liked deep dish pizza, and then I had that, and it changed my life. It was so good. And I was telling you the other day, John, obviously big Dodger fan. I was watching the Dodger channel here, and they're 2 of the players, Alex Vesia and Tony Gonsolin, on their day off in Chicago because they got rained out on Friday. They went to Lou Malnati's, if I'm saying it right, and got to each make a deep dish with the owner, and they went through the instructions. It looked super cool and super fun, and B, oh my God, I was sitting there. I was actually at work, and I was like, I'm so hungry. I want a deep dish right now. So thank you for that experience, and thanks for tidying that up for us.
And I could be wrong, Kevin, but I think you can have Giordano's shipped to you.
Ooh. I have so many questions. I can't even get it out. Like I'd have to put it in the oven, I'm guessing, right? Like, It's not like it comes hot, but
no, it's frozen.
Oh, got it. And then you shipped. Giordano's shipped.
Yeah, it's like $85 for 2 of them.
Worth it. All right, I might do it. All right, you ready? Should we get into our quiz?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. It's time to take a quiz or two. Like a genius podcast doing this for you. You may fail, but it ain't no lie, baby, it's quiz time. Don't really want this quiz to be tough. I just want to pass one cause I failed enough. It might sound crazy, but it ain't no lie, baby, it's quiz time. Why don't we have you ask the first question about mustache history?
My thinking.
That you were on the same page. Good. I like
Yep.
when we're on the same page. And I'll take a quick moment to just acknowledge that the reason I know this is not in the quiz, the reason I know that this is the 10th anniversary of my mustache is actually kind of a sad reason. And so it's like it's always a little awkward to tell this story, but I'm just it's because it was the day of my grandpa's funeral. My grandpa passed away in 2012. And I remember that around that time, I was thinking about growing back my mustache because I had it briefly for I had it for like 8 or 9 months and then shaved it and didn't have it for a year and then was like, I really miss it. And when my grandpa unfortunately passed away, I was like, well, I can't have like a dirty beginning of a mustache at his funeral. So the last day that I shaved my upper lip was for my grandpa's funeral. And yes, it's a sad story and I'm acknowledging it, but I also appreciate that fact because it reminds me of my grandpa now. It's sort of I won't go as far to say as it's an homage to him, but it sort of is. And in that same vein, my dad has had a mustache his entire life, never had the curls like mine, but it's sort of an homage to my dad as well. My dad's alive and well, but like, it's sort of cool that it gets to like link me back to the patronage, to the male side of my family that is that I love and admire. So my dad one time shaved his mustache and it was on a vacation and I'll never forget it because A, it scared the crap out of us kids. We were like, who are you? But B, he'd had it for so long that it was just a white upper lip. It was it was a bad tan and I guarantee if I shaved mine today, I'd have the exact same thing. And so
Oh yeah, I mean I would too if I shaved my face.
the bottom half of your face would be like see-through.
Yeah.
One of these days we'll shock each other, John.
Maybe.
But yeah, I just wanted to get that out. It's a celebration. We're celebrating 10 years of mustachdom, and John's gonna get us started by quizzing us on some history.
So your first question
Bring it.
is, what does the original word for mustache mean in Greek?
Wow.
So we're going back to the very beginning of the word, the etymology of the word mustache. It comes from the Hellenistic Greek,
Okay.
which is just a time period. So does it mean lip hair, upper lip, handlebar, or hair?
What a great question, John. I never thought about why mustache, and I get it. It's not necessarily that mustache means this, but the origin of the word. It is also interesting, and I noticed that you've spelled mustache the same way I have, Mustache, because it's actually interchangeable with the Moustache, mustache. I don't know if that's going to have any bearing on this or going to come up in the quiz later, but
No, that spelling with the O is just the French.
is that it? But it's
yeah.
it's funny because I've looked it up because I have a mustache. I'm like, what is the proper spelling? And at least according to the probably one of the dictionaries, one of the English dictionaries, it is interchangeable, but it's because one comes from the French and one does not.
Right.
Okay, well, back to this question. What is mustache, the original word for mustache, mean? Lip hair, upper lip, handlebar, or hair? I don't think it's handlebar because that seems way too current of time. Gosh, these are great choices. I really want to pick lip hair, but I'm going to go way more broad and just say that it means hair and say that that's where the original sort of origin came from. And let's see if I got it right. I'm going to go with hair. I tried to outsmart you.
It means upper lip.
It does mean upper lip. So it has nothing to do with hair, just upper lip.
Yeah, I mean it's mustax, which according to this is meaning upper lip or possibly facial hair.
Okay.
So, and it's probably derived from another word, mullen, Mullon, which just means lip.
Okay. Okay.
So,
What was the first word you said? Motach?
mustax,
Mustax.
Mustax.
Mustax. Mustache is a solid word, but mustax, that is cool.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm probably mispronouncing it, but mustachio is Italian.
Okay,
So-
that sounds about right.
Yeah, so we got mustache, and then without the O, mustache with an O is French, which is derived from the mustachio.
Mustachio.
And, yeah. which comes from the medieval Latin of mustachium.
Mustachium. Those are all very solid words. Mustachium. Mustachio is in our song. So that's what'd you say, Italian? That's the Italian version is in our song. I also have another song. It's not complete. It's about nuts. I know that like peanuts, almonds, all these things. And I say my name. It's a rap, and my name's Ranger Gouda, and I am mustachioed. I like to eat peanuts and also pistachios. That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, mustachioed normally refers to someone with a particularly large or bushy mustache.
Interesting. So if you just had like a comment, I mean, that's sort of mine, right?
I mean, someone's either mustached or mustachioed.
All right, so I think I can accurately describe myself as mustachioed.
Yeah, I'd say so on the smaller end of the.
And you are absolutely right. In fact, one of the very common questions I get out and about on the street is, "Do you enter it in those competitions?" And I'm like, no, because if you go to those competitions, these things are huge and crazy and have like 8 legs coming out of them. And yes, mine can hold its own out in public, but I could show up at that and probably fit in, but I could not compete. I could not compete with those serious mustachios.
I mean, it's possible that depending on how you style your mustache.
Yes, I've thought about this.
I don't think size is necessarily everything.
You're right. In fact, that's part of like there's a way they style it, and people have the more length you have, the more you can do. But also it also seems to be the amount of like the bushiness of it, like the density of it.
I mean, you've got 6 different, according to the World Beard and Mustache Championships, there are 6 subcategories for mustaches.
Okay, interesting. All right, well maybe I'll do a deep dive into that and figure out which one is my best path and consider it. But man, John, we're one question in and you've just like educated me so much on mustaches. All right, you ready for the first question about my mustache?
Sure.
I'll tell you what, I had a ton of fun putting this specific question together. So here's what I did is I polled 30 of my family members and friends, and I asked them, how many individual hairs do you think are in my mustache? Okay, so the question isn't, John, how many hairs do you think are in my mustache? The question is, based on this poll of 30 of my family and friends, people who know me well, and I sent them a picture, and I was up close, and it was unwaxed. And in fact, I'll get close so you can kind of see, John. But yeah, I asked them how many hairs do they think they are. I took all those answers. I got an average. What was the average guess? Was it 491, 991, 1491, or 1991? So they go up by 500 increments. 491, 991, 1491, 1991.
I'm just gonna guess 1491.
1491. You're throwing one out there. You think you
Yep.
Are you basing that on anything? I mean, you just think that's what people would guess, or?
I'm just guessing.
All right, John. 1491. That is incorrect. It was 991, which I have to say is probably very close to accurate. In fact, what I decided is because I did this all via text, what I decided is whatever the average answer is now science, that's how many hairs my mustache has. So 991 exactly. I'd like to thank everyone who participated. And in terms of this podcast, we had several former guests, including Ben Magnet had a guest, Jeff McAvoy, our Bigfoot expert Devin, our D&D expert Julian, Greg, who came and pulled us on Frisbee, several of our patrons. And I just want to share a couple people's processes, including my friend Greg, who came on for the Frisbee episode. He was very methodical about it, and he looked at he estimated about 20 hairs per cubic centimeter, and he took about a 2.5 centimeter space, multiplied that by 5 centimeters of my total mustache, and came up with 250, which was a little bit lower than 991, but that was his theory. I had my friend John, who actually may be a future guest for us. not spoiler alert, but a little tease. He said, "Let me Google how many hairs are in Mr. Pringle's mustache for reference." He came up with nothing, and my cousin Alexa, who is always so hilarious, she was like, "Well, I have 50 mustache hairs myself, but it's not as dense as yours, so I'm going to multiply that by 10 and get 500." So yeah, there was a lot of good stuff. And I'll shout out quickly that my mom was the closest guess with 1,001, and the total was 900. She was only off by 10, but without going over, it was my friend Mike Moretti who guessed 888. So there's all the facts you need about my mustache poll. For you're set for life now.
Well, speaking of mustache pulls, if you ever decide to get rid of the mustache, you'll just have to pull it out hair by hair and count.
There it is. Because I had several people ask me, like, are you going to count it? And I sort of joked that I needed like these goggles that let you look like if you're doing like models or whatever, like little miniature things. I'd have to get somebody to do that with tweezers, but you're absolutely right. The best way is just count and lay each one out. And
like lay them out like, hash.
yeah. Oh yes, like a tally. There'll be little tallies. There'll be little tallies. Oh my God, John. All right. In fact, because you came up with this idea. You were the person that is designated to doing that. I don't think it's gonna happen this year, but down the line, you're gonna be the man doing that for me.
Okay.
That's hilarious. All right, so we are both 0 for 1 to start.
Yep.
All right, bring it on for number 2 on mustache history.
So, what ancient civilization is first documented as having mustaches?
Wow.
The Greeks, the Romans, the Celts, or the Germans?
Oh, I love this. It's so interesting to think about documentation of mustaches, and I'd be so curious what this documentation looked like. Like at what point did somebody write down like the hair on our upper lip protected us from the severe weather, or like, I think Egyptian is not a choice, but you think about hieroglyphics, and if there are images that portrayed some kind of mustaches. These are just all random guesses, but which ancient civilization first documented mustaches? So we got Greeks, Romans, Celts, or Germans. It's hard not to choose either Greek or Roman, but I'm going to choose Celts just because I think about that region of the world and mustaches just pop out to me. So I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to say Celts. All right.
Yep.
Tell me about it.
So it was actually a Greek historian documenting about the Iron Age Celts. Specifically, what he wrote was, the Gauls are tall of body with rippling muscles and white of skin, and their hair is blonde. And not only naturally so, for they also make it their practice by artificial means to increase the distinguishing color which nature has given it. For they are always washing their hair in lime water, and they pull it back from the forehead to the nape of the neck, with the result that their appearance is like that of satyrs and pans, since the treatment of their hair makes it so heavy and coarse that it differs in no respect from the mane of horses. Some of them shave the beard, but others let it grow a little, and the nobles shave their cheeks, but they let the mustache grow until it covers the mouth.
Wow. First of all, what a description. Oh my gosh, that was poetry, like a horse's mane. Mm-hmm. But so they it's not that facial hair was something new. It was that they literally like talked about shaving the beard. So it's
right.
Just the mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is great. Where did you find that? Just on google.com?
Wikipedia.
That is beautiful. And the blonde was interesting to me too. It's maybe just because I'm a brunette, but actually now that I think about it, when I was picturing Celts, I was picturing like a strong, like blonde, dirty blonde beard. But they had some beautiful blonde locks on their head, it sounds like.
Yeah, both naturally and artificially.
It was almost erotic. It was almost, but not quite. Almost.
I just like the fact that he mentions satyrs and pans, which are mythological creatures, as a means of this is what they looked like.
That is so interesting. How do you spell satyr?
Satyrs.
Satyrs. So that's a mythical creature. Oh yeah, there it is. Oh yeah, they're scary looking. Sort of. And then Pan, is that the same reference from like Pan's Labyrinth? Or
Think Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe. You know, the
okay.
half goat, half
Yes.
human. That's a pan.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, in fact, that's exactly what it is in Pan's Labyrinth, which is such a fascinating creature that they show in that movie because you don't you sort of he looks sort of friendly but also very untrustworthy and you don't know what to make of him, and that's probably oh man, I want to read more about Pans now. But yeah, I do love that they use those references. You're right.
Yeah.
That's pretty hilarious.
And for the adults in the audience, the satyr is the male version of a nymph.
Oh, got it. Yes, yes. So satyrs and nymphs, do they usually cohabitate together, or are they just sort of
I think there's some cohabitation, but I'm not positive.
very
So,
interesting take without getting too political. I don't know if political is the right word,
hmm
but that we know about nymphs and nymphomania, but
hmm
but you don't hear a lot about satyr, and it just sort of goes into this I don't know, this unfair what's the word I'm looking for? Like take on women and their sexuality where men are like allowed to do this, but if a
right.
woman does it then she gets this label. That's very interesting. That maybe is a
hmm
conversation for another day, but just shouting out the unfairness there. Good info, John. You're dropping a few bombs on us, I got to say.
Yeah.
I've yet to play the drop, but I should have many a time. All right, you want number 2 on my mustache?
Sure.
How many gray hairs are in my mustache? 0, 1, 2, or 4?
I'm guessing 0 because you picked them out.
That's a really good guess. Oh, it's a really good guess. But I want to give you a chance on this because the way I should have phrased the question without plucking them out, how many do I have? Which is
Ah,
now telling you that it is more than 0.
then I will go with 2.
You're saying 2 with
hmm
with the hint that I think was a fair hint to give.
Yeah.
All right, 2 is correct, John, because I didn't want to, because you're right. In fact, right now you cannot see either of them. There are 2 in here. I do usually pluck them out, and it's weird because I thought about it. I was like, why do I do that? And I guess it is out of vanity. I don't, I have a little bit of gray hair up here, and I don't mind going gray. I don't really want to be the kind of person that dyes his hair or uses growth product. I mean, maybe someday I will, but I'm down to let it happen naturally. But what's funny is when my mustache is not waxed, it's the wax actually adds a deeper brown color to it. That's not the reason that I use it, but it just does
hmm
that.
Right.
There is one like strong white hair that goes right across the front of my left lip, and so when it's not waxed, you can see it. It's not like it doesn't like pop, but if you're looking, it's like yeah,
Right.
there it is. So there's that one, and then just kind of behind it, hidden a little more, is a second one, and I think what's funny is I've been thinking about this quiz for a while, and so I deliberately haven't plucked it out because I wanted it to be accurate for this
Right.
quiz. So there you go. So I have 2 gray hairs, and next time you see me in person, especially if it's not waxed, you can look out. You're allowed to stare and look. I'm not going to be upset that you're looking for my gray hair because I'm talking about it openly here.
I should go count how many gray hairs I've got in my beard. It's getting to be
You
quite
should.
a few.
I noticed it at Wrigley. You have like a little patch on the like where the jawbone is, and
hmm
it honestly, John, it looks good, man. I'm not calling you out as like it's a good. There's something about gray hair, and maybe it's the distinguishedness, but you get to be in your mid to late 30s, and it's like, hey, that's all right. Yeah, a couple
Yeah.
gray hairs, it looks
Well, I
good.
mean, I'm getting quite a bit up here as well. Like it's, especially since I cut my hair, you can see them a lot more.
You can see him more. I can't see him through this camera right now, but I'm in the same boat. Like the sides of mine are getting more and more, and
hmm
especially when you're in person and looking, it's like, oh yeah, there's quite a few there. We're aging with grace, John. We're aging with grace.
If you say so.
All right, you got that one right. We're both
Yep,
1 for 2. Look at us go.
we
All
are.
right,
I
all
got
right.
a true or false for you.
Yes.
A mustache spoon is a real thing.
I have no clue what a mustache spoon would be, and I'm pretty sure I'm just going to choose true. But the only reason I would think it might be false is if it's actually a mustache fork and you're just, throwing in a different word. But I would regret if I didn't choose true for this. So I'm saying yes, a mustache spoon is a real thing, true. All right.
Correct.
What the heck is
Yeah.
a mustache spoon?
It's a spoon that was used in the early 1900s in Edwardian England to protect the mustache while eating soup.
It's literally a spoon that you use specifically
So you
if
don't
you have a
get
mustache.
soup in your mustache.
I need that. Does it still exist?
I mean, I'm sure you could find one.
I get a crazy amount of soup in my mustache when I eat soup. And I get a crazy amount of I eat a lot of peanut butter and jelly. That's the worst because like it's and I put a little honey. I've actually stopped using honey since I'm trying to have less sugar now. But
Yeah.
when I eat PB&J, the jelly just gets stuck in. But yeah, soup is a common one. Ice cream, a ton of it. So what? Did you look up images of this mustache spoon? I'm guessing you must have.
Yeah, there's one on Wikipedia, but it's so
I'm looking at 'em now.
take a normal spoon and then just like add a piece of metal that goes across the top, so there's
Literal-
a little opening.
Yes. and it's like oh my god, I 10,000% need to get one of these. I mean, not even necessarily to use, just because it exists and it exists for me. Like not just me, but people like me with
Right.
mustaches. There's one that I'm looking at that it literally almost looks like it's shaped like a mustache. It's got the curves
Like-
and there's a little hole and you just
Like, is it on a
slurp
red
in.
background?
No, this one's on a
No.
white one. But
Oh.
now I want to see the one. Oh yeah, I can see it. No, there's one red one and it's gold.
Yep,
It's a
Has like
gold
a-
one.
like lettering on the handle
Yes.
on the right.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're looking at the same one. Yep. And there's even there's some that come in these little packages, and there's a logo of let's see, by Reed and Barton, mustache spoon by Reed and Barton, and there's an image of a guy that looks kind of like my dad. He's got a mustache, and this is, John, you have changed my life. I did not. This is no offense. I did not expect to have this much fun with your side of the quiz. I
Right?
thought mine was going to bring all the fun, but you're bringing it, John. Mine is just like, all right, cool. You got 2 gray hairs, whatever. We're talking about mustache spoons. Oh, that's great, John. Thank you for this information.
You're welcome.
That's, I don't feel like I can give you a knowledge bomb because it was part of the quiz, but this is the biggest John knowledge bomb that you've ever given me in my life. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, you got a true or false also. So let's see if you can keep up and go 2 for 3 here. True or false? The question is, true or false? Kevin trims his mustache once a week. Is that true? Is that false?
Now, does that include plucking or just using like a pair of scissors or something to cut the hairs?
Yeah, scissors to cut the hair. I do that once a week. Is that true or is that false?
I'm gonna say true because it's possible that you might just cut like an individual hair, which would still be technically trimming the mustache.
And you're saying I do that once a week. You're gonna say
Yep.
true?
Mhm.
All right, John. That is incorrect. Sorry to tell you.
Twice a week.
You want to know the true answer? I never trim my mustache. Literally, I cannot tell you the last time I took a pair of scissors to my mustache. And it's the weirdest thing because you're right. Occasionally, I do pluck out a hair or two. In fact, just yesterday, what'll end up happening is, I'm kind of looking at the camera. So either if you're on the stream or if maybe I make a video clip out of this, but there's a curl at the end, and sometimes there'll be one renegade hair that kind of goes off to the wrong direction, and I can try all I want to get more wax on it and to get it to take, and I've learned it just won't. It's going to do what it wants to do in that instance, and so what I'll do is I'll isolate that one, I'll pull it loose, and I'll pluck it right out. Outside
Listen to
of
too much Rage Against the Machine.
exactly, it wants to go its own way. It doesn't want to go where everyone else is going. Outside of the occasional pluck of a few hairs, I do no upkeep or maintenance of my mustache. And, does grow, it does get length, but it always sort of maintains about the same length. And I don't feel like I pluck hairs often enough that it should be maintaining it as well as it does. I feel
Mhm.
like my mustache just these hairs just know when to stop growing. I doubt that's true, but that's how it feels. And it's sort of that earlier when we were talking about mustache competitions,
Mhm.
that's why I feel like this is the thickest, like the most dense and the longest that my mustache can get and still be maintainable. That's why I don't know that I can do more than what I'm doing right now with it. I can't explain it, but that's the truth. I don't, what I
Yeah, I mean,
used to do.
this is the most I can do with mine. So
Interesting. See, so when you say that, do you mean your mustache or your beard?
yeah, mustache. Like
Okay.
beard, I can get like much more length, but I'll trim right above the lip
Yes.
just because it gets kind of annoying. But
Yep.
in general, this is the best mustache I get.
And it is so interesting. Everybody's different. And much like I
Hmm.
said, I can't grow a beard. What I was going to say is what you just said is that I used to trim right above the upper lip, just so it was more of like a push broom, if you will.
Hmm.
You can picture it like that. And then I would let just the sides grow. And then a few years back, probably 4, 5, 6 years ago, I figured out, oh, if I just let the sides grow, then it gets thicker. So now I don't trim anything. So in fact, well, we'll get into this more later, but um, when I wax my sash, I literally part it down the middle. I draw a
Hmm.
little line and I part it. So now my hair literally combs side to side. And once I started doing that, the mustache really became full and it was kind of a game changer.
Cool.
John, this is so much fun. Thank you for indulging me on talking about something that's it's just a mustache. It's so silly, but I'm having a blast. All right, so you missed that one. I'm 2 for 3. You're 1 for 3, right?
Yeah.
All right.
How long is the longest mustache?
Wow.
4 feet, 9 feet, 14 feet, or 19 feet?
Amazing. And am I allowed to ask the clarification question of like, are we measuring from one side to the other, or is this like, or is that going to give away the answer somehow?
Um,
It's all right if it will. I mean, don't answer it if it will.
I don't have an answer for that, to be honest.
Okay, got it. My guess is it would be, if we're talking about the
My
longest
my guess
mustache.
is tip to tip.
Yeah, from one side to the other. I mean, who knows? Maybe by official measurements they measure from the middle to the side, but I would guess like wingspan, if you will.
Hmm.
Gosh, okay, I'm. It's got to be long. I think it's got to be longer than 4 feet. I'm gonna choose one of these slightly longer ones. 4 feet, 9. You went by 5 increments. 4, 9, 14, or 19. God, 19 feet. I'm like trying to gauge. That is if it is 19 feet. I'm not gonna choose 19 feet, but I want it to be 19 feet. I'm gonna play it a little safer and say 14 feet, which is insanely long still. But I'm gonna say 14 feet. All right, that's insane.
Technically 14.1 feet.
Yes. Uh-huh.
But it belonged. This is in March of 2010 when it was measured on an Italian show called Lo Show di Record. I'm guessing it's kind of like a Guinness record show. But it belonged to a guy from India by the name of Ram Singh Chauhan.
India. All
Yeah.
right. Ram
And
Singh, what was it?
Ram Singh Chauhan.
Chauhan.
Chauhan. So.
I'm looking him up right now. That would make sense. Okay, so oh, there it is. Oh my goodness. Do yourself a favor and Google this. Ram Singh, if I spelled it right, okay, so like two separate words. RAM
Mhm.
like Ram, Singh SINGH, and Chauhan CHAUHAN. He literally has his mustache wrapped around his arms and he's holding them up.
Mhm.
This is madness, John. Oh my gosh. There's a picture of him, and all respect to him, I can tell he's doing this to be crazy and silly. He's got crazy eyes in one of them, and it is the
Oh, yeah.
funniest picture ever. This is insane, John. So 14 feet is what we went with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you search world's longest mustache, this is a man I would love to meet someday. I'm looking through all the images right now. This is madness. And what's crazy too is if you do yourself the favor and search, it's like his mustache gets really bushy coming down like his cheek, and that's where the ends come out of, and they're dreaded. He's basically got dreads for a mustache.
Are they dreaded or braided?
Well, that's a good question. This picture they look more dreaded, but they might I don't know. I'm gonna hit up Ram Singh and ask him.
But something I am noticing is, like, there's some pictures like where he's got like this pink scarf wrapped around him. He actually that his mustache is inside of that. He wraps
Yes,
it
I
in that,
see that.
and then like wraps it around his neck, so it looks like he's just wearing a scarf, and it's not as
Yes.
noticeable then.
And it keeps it maintained. That's so interesting. And the fact that we were just talking about how like my mustache seems to kind of know when to stop.
Hmm.
His did not. his I'd have so many questions for him, and I'm sure he gets them all the time. But like, when did you start growing it? When did you realize that it was just gonna keep on growing? What did you do to maintain it at first? Like, it's this man is a gift to this world. It's amazing. I will travel to India to meet this man if I have to. That is fantastic. All right, John. Great question. Man, I'm 3 for 4 now. You're 1 for 3. Let's see how you can do on number 4. Ready?
Yep.
Which color has my mustache never been? Which color has Kevin's mustache never been? And your choices are blue, white, brown, or green. My
Well,
mustache
we know
has
it's
been
not
Yeah.
white because you keep plucking those hairs out.
My mustache has been 3 of these colors. One of them they have not. Blue, white, brown, or green. Meaning I colored them. I added color to them. To the mustache.
I'm gonna say green.
So you're saying my mustache has never been colored green.
Yeah.
Locking it in?
Yep.
John? Great guess. I've never dyed my mustache green or colored it green. I guess I could for St. Patty's Day if I ever really felt like it. So my mustache is obviously brown, so that one was a given. It it has been white outside of just the one gray hair. I was Colonel Sanders for Halloween several years back, and I grew out the goatee as well. And without being boastful, I was like, I bought the whole outfit, and I was like, God, I hope that I grew my goatee out for like several months leading up. Like, I hope this works. And I just got hairspray, white hairspray, that doused my hair in and then went for the mustache and goatee, and it turned out better than I ever could have imagined. And it's weird because my hair is like a dark, I mean, it's not the darkest brown, but it's brown. The white color of the hairspray almost gave it more of like a gray look. Like I looked kind of like an old man. I just it
Yeah.
looked like I have like crow's feet on my eyes. That's I have a few wrinkles on my face, so it kind of fit. But and then the other side of this story is blue. I probably told this story here before, but in 2017, this was the first time the Dodgers made the World Series in 20 something years, almost 30 years. I sprayed my mustache blue and went to the World Series with my family, and it's one of my greatest memories. Even though the Dodgers lost that game to the cheating Astros, they literally cheated. They were caught cheating, so I'm not just saying that because I'm bitter. They literally cheated in that World Series, and it was an amazing game. It went back and forth. I believe it even went to extra innings. It was so exciting. But they ultimately lost, and my mustache was blue for that. And it is so difficult to spray a mustache any color, because if you're picturing just you go to Party City and you get those little hairspray things. What I did is I put like a piece of paper I'm showing on the stream, but a piece of paper behind the curls and then sprayed it. But it turns out, and when you're spraying something right into where you breathe, it is insanely uncomfortable. So like, I think I had to plug my nose. It's a 2-person job, and
Right.
and just it was and then I'd spray, and then I have to move away from the area to like get clean oxygen. I would not recommend it. It's probably not healthy to be breathing those fumes, but yeah, it paid off when I had a colorful mustache. So there you go. All right, good job, John. So you're 2 for 4. I'm 3 for 4. You need me to miss this last one if you want a chance to tie
I do.
me. All right, here we go.
Which famous artist published a book dedicated to his mustache?
My goodness.
Picasso, Dali, Rembrandt, or Van Gogh?
Well, there's one choice that jumps out at me is what I'm thinking would be the obvious guess, and I am going to choose it, but I would not be surprised if one of these other artists uh, published a book on their mustache. It just, none of those would surprise me. Dali is the answer that pops out. In fact, that is one of the common sort of like when people see my mustache. The Dali is pretty common, like, oh, Salvador Dali. I would say the most common I get is Raleigh Fingers. If you don't know who that is, Google it. Raleigh is Rollie. Raleigh Fingers. He was a pitcher in the 70s and 80s and had a mustache just like this. And I want to be him for Halloween someday. I got to choose Dali, and let's see if it's right. All right.
Yep.
He published a whole book about it, huh?
Yeah, it was in the 50s, in 1954.
And do you know anything about the book? I mean, was it just images of it? Did he talk about it?
I'm not sure a whole lot. Let me see what I can find here.
I was gonna joke that you have to have a certain amount of ego to make a book about your mustache, but then I'm sitting here doing a podcast about my mustache.
Right.
So it's, look, I'm not gonna lie. I understand that I have a mustache and that people like it and that it looks decent, and so I do. It does play a role in my ego, and I try not to let it go to my head, even though it's literally on my face, which is part of my head. But yeah, I get where Salvador Dali would come from in wanting to publish it. I'm not going to publish a book about my mustache. That's not what I'm saying here. It's weird because it's also one of those things where when you go through life and you get enough people saying, "Wow, that's a great mustache. Look at that mustache." It gets to a point where it goes to your head, and then and then 10 years go by and it becomes just very natural, and it feels good every time. I'm not going to act like it's not nice to get complimented, but you learn to kind of take it with humility as time goes on. So
yeah, so the book is called Dali's Mustache, and it's co-authored by Dali and a photographer by the name of Philippe Halsman.
Okay.
And
on
the
Amazon, cover is amazing.
Yeah, and it's I guess a photo interview. I'm not quite sure.
Oh well, I'm gonna be quite sure when I buy and read this book. This looks like something I have to own. The cover, it looks almost like if you put like half your face on a mirror and then move the mirror. It looks like that. It's like a one-eyed. It's a very cool piece of art, whatever this is, if it is a photo. Oh my God, John! I need to get Dali's mustache. I need to get a mustache spoon. You've opened up so many doors. I've never known any of this, and I've had a freaking mustache for 10 years.
It happens.
Yeah. Dali's mustache, if you're not familiar, it's longer than mine for sure, and it's much pointier. And in fact,
it kind of sticks out, not just up, but kind of away from the face as well.
Yeah, it goes up, but like I get what you're saying, like going away from the face. It's yeah. And there are many different there are other images of him like where it's twirly, where it's like it's literally going up. When I first started doing my mustache, I wouldn't like curl it like it is now. I would go more straight out. It wasn't as long, so it was like I would call them my antennas, like they were like little antennas, and that's kind of what it looks like on Dali's face. One of these days, because I can style it many ways. In fact, well, we'll get into this to the next question. But there are very many. Like sometimes I'll comb it. I could literally part it from the right all the way over and just have it all almost like a flock of seagulls, if you know that sort of hairstyle. I could have my mustache be sort of a flock of seagull style. So maybe one of these days I'll do a video or something. I've always thought about it. Just here's all the ways. It's just very time consuming, and and time is I don't have time for this kind of nonsense. So, all right, John. I'm going to be spending money because of your quiz, so thank you for teaching me all this.
You're welcome.
And here's the last question for fun, since I won the episode. What is the only brand of mustache wax that I have ever used? I've only ever used one brand of mustache wax. What is it? Is it Suavecito, Burt's Bees, Clubman, or Fisticuffs? All real brands
I feel
of
like
mustache wax.
you're a Burt's Bees man.
You're feeling the Burt's Bees?
Yep.
Suavecito, Burt's Bees, Clubman, or Fisticuff. You're going to choose Burt's Bees.
Mm-hmm.
John, that is incorrect. Clubman's Mustache Wax is the only brand I've ever used. Burt's Bees does make I do like Burt's Bees a lot. Their chapstick is bomb, or their lip balm, I should say, is bomb. But oh wow, that was an unintended pun there. Suavecito is probably the most recommended or guessed mustache wax when I go to like barbers and stuff, and it may be because we're in Southern California and there's a strong Mexican heritage down here, and that is a popular, but it's also a popular brand of pomade, so a lot of people know this. Clubman's is the first and only brand I've ever used. When I first had my mustache, and I did not know I could grow the curls. That was not my goal. I was growing them. In fact, the brief story of why I first grew my mustache. I was working at the radio station K-Rock here in Los Angeles. We did an annual summer show called Weenie Roast, and people who work at the station usually like use that as an opportunity to do something fun, maybe show up in something whatever, not like one of my friends once dressed up as a hot dog and came to it, like not everybody does it, but it's kind of like it's like a party outside of work. So when you work there, you show up and you're like, look, I'm dressed nice. And so I was like, I'm going to grow a mustache, and it's going to be gross and it's going to be funny. And I did. I shaved everything, and it was just this little pencil stash. And then I said, well, let me keep it for the rest of the weekend. Well, let me keep it for another week. Well, and the rest is history. I mean, that was before the grandpa one. That was the first one. Then I shaved it, and then it came back. So there's the longer story than I meant to tell. But during that mustache phase, I don't know what, I think one night I was just on YouTube or something, and I saw that people had these little, I was like, oh my gosh, I could probably do that. And so at the time, all I had was hair gel, and I tried that. And you learn very quickly when you have a mustache that hair gel does not work. It will work very temporarily. Like you can get it to like, oh,
Right.
that's what it looks like. But the hair is so thick, it's much thicker than the hair on your head, that it falls apart pretty quickly. So then I'm like, well, what do people use? And I Googled mustache wax. Clubman's happened to be the first one that came up, and it's been my go-to ever since. And I've sort of thought like, well, maybe I should try something different, but it's worked so well. And in fact, as I drop my phone, John, I'm showing you, and if I make a video out of this is what it looks like. It comes in a little almost like it's the same as like a toothpaste thing, but much smaller, and a little cap that screws on, and it comes with this little green comb, and it's got these little wire brushes on it that I never use. I literally never use this. I only use the green. You can hear it. It's like a comb. It's literally like a comb, and I'll show you a little bit of it. But you squeeze a little bit of it out, and you put it on. I usually put a little bit more than that, and then I just start combing it in. And I'll tell you my whole regimen because you're asking, John. I'll comb it in one side. I'll kind of go back and forth in one side. I'll put a little more on. I'll go the other, and then I'll literally put some on, and I'll comb it all the way across and get it all the way in, and then I'll do the other side, get it all the way in, and then I'll put a little bit on my fingers, and that's how and then I just kind of mold it up. And I realize this is if you're listening, that this is a visual medium, but hopefully you could envision that.
I think we need to add a new section to our YouTube channel of style guides by Kevin, and maybe have an instructional video on that. So,
what's interesting is it probably would get a lot of views because I've definitely looked at like how do you style a mustache. I actually never looked for instructions. I just started figuring it out, and then like a year or two ago, I was like, what if I'm doing it wrong this whole time? And I looked up videos, and quite frankly, everybody has a different style. I didn't see anybody who was quite as thorough with putting the wax in as I was. A lot of people just put it on the hand and then put it on. I really like to have a lot of hold. I also will say the other thing about Clubman's that I like is it comes in different shades. So the shade that I use is chestnut, which I love it because that's just got like a warm feel to it. There's chestnut, there's brown, there's black, and then there's what's called neutral. And neutral is like a white milky kind of thing, and that would it does not hold on my mustache. That would work more for like a blonde mustache. But my hair is pretty thick on the upper lip, so I need the chestnut or the brown. The brown actually makes it look too dark. So I like the chestnut. It only adds a little bit of color and Gosh, now you're right. Maybe I need to. Maybe our lack of genius page will be the I'll every week I have a video of something different about styling my mustache. We shall see, John. And we'll get the same for you on your beard.
Oh yeah, it's shampoo occasionally and brushed out.
Yeah.
That's it.
I actually shampoo mine as well, my mustache. I know this is probably TMI, but if I don't, it gets dry underneath and it'll get like flaky and gross. So like I have to shampoo it, and I do. I just like a little chipmunk. I shampoo it in. And John, I was gonna say about your beard. You see in these competitions a lot the thing, like you could totally, like, if you've got the right thing, you could totally like style something off to the side of that beard. We got some ideas flowing. Well, John, I won the episode, but let's face it, we're all winners today because we now know that a mustache spoon is a real thing, and
yep.
I think that's the
John Knowledge Bomb.
That's going to be the greatest thing to take away from this episode for everyone, whether you have a mustache or not.
Oh yeah.
All right, John. Always a pleasure hopping on this mic with you. We're by the way, we're closing in. This is what, episode 48?
Yep.
We can do a little tease. If you recall, we did an episode 26 extravaganza because that was half a year. We're not doing any 1 year celebration, or we're not going crazy for our 50th episode. Well, we are doing 1 year, but we're doing it based on 52 weeks because that will be a year total. And what a journey it's been, John. We're not going to get too emotional about it now because we have in about 4 weeks our 52nd episode to get. We're going to get emotional and we're going to cry. There's going to be, I don't know what we're going to do yet, but it's going to be fun.
It might be the audience is crying because it's so boring. Who knows?
Yeah, we didn't say what the tears were going to be. It was, it could be for any various reason. John, I've loved this journey. Looking forward to continuing it. And
Me too.
Shout out to the loggers. You all make us who we are. It wouldn't be the show without you. So thanks for hanging out with us.
Oh yeah.
All right, we'll catch you next week.
See ya.
See you later.
You did.
I'll stop it. Yeah. You always push stop. I don't know why I felt the need to stop it, but I'll stop this one.